Hello, my friends, and welcome to episode 196 of the Kiss Army Nation podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Pasquale Berry.
And I am Claudia Spera. Welcome to the show, everyone.
So I watched our next guest grow up on Facebook from an enthusiastic Kiss fan to a talented music photographer, capturing some pretty big names in the music business. Her story is a testament to how music, and especially Kiss, can inspire and shape our lives in ways we never expected. Kiss Army Nation, please welcome Cailin Provo. Welcome, my friend.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yay, nice to meet you. So happy that you're here and give us your time. So super cool.
Oh, absolutely.
So Cailin, being a photographer must give you kind of a different perspective on the concert experience. Okay, we all love rock and roll. We all love music. We go to concerts. But of course, your experience must go through kind of a different lens. So when you watch a Kiss concert, what do you see?
When I watch a Kiss concert, I see moments. I see moments from them singing to them, interacting with each other, to the pyro, to the lights going off. They do put on the best show as any show I've ever seen.
Are you kind of sometimes, I don't think so because you're a pro, but are you lost in everything that it's happening? So you know what kind of a picture to capture or which kind of image to go for?
Usually when I do bands that I've never shot before, I'll take the time to go on YouTube, watch their stage presence, and see how they, move on stage, different songs that they'll play, and just watch what they do.
Okay.
So in that moment, I kind of know what moments I want to capture.
Okay.
If that
So there's
makes
a prep. There's a
any
big
sense.
prep there. Okay, that's good. And speaking of Kiss again, so what are some of your favorite memories from past shows?
Well, I've honestly only seen Kiss once. My mom and dad took me when I was 9. I saw them at the Molson Amphitheater in Toronto, and it was the best. There's a little bit lost memory because I was so young, but it was still my first concert ever, and I'm so grateful to have Kiss as that first concert.
That was your first concert ever?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So how has your appreciation of Kiss evolved as a result of that first concert, that first experience?
I've met so many incredible people through this band, and they're the one band I can say all my friends are Kiss fans.
Oh, yeah.
And there is some connection to the band, to shows, we've all been to. And it's, we're part of the Kiss Army. It's great to have that, under your belt.
Yeah, that's it, right? We were talking off air before, and Cailin, I could swear I met you in person. And you're telling me that we didn't, but I remember it. I remember it. And now I'm going to go through my 2009 pictures because I think I was in Toronto for that show. Maybe we met. I don't know. But for sure, we became Facebook friends years ago.
Definitely.
And like you're saying, this band afforded us opportunities for once-in-a-lifetime experiences to meet Kiss fans from around the world.
Absolutely.
It's amazing. And, I remember you on Facebook and watching you grow up as that Kiss fan. And I remember the time I saw that first shot of you taking a picture as a photographer of a band and going, oh my goodness, she's a photographer too? Look at these bands she's shooting. That's incredible. She went from here to here. Amazing.
Thank you.
So what does it mean to you to have come, in a sense, full circle from that young Kiss fan to now a photographer in that world?
Oh, I love it. I'll never look back. This is my passion, and that is what I was meant to do. I grew up with a camera. I've had a camera in my hand since I was probably 6 or 7. My grandparents bought my first one for Christmas. It was one of the toy kid cameras, and I use that for everything. And then years down the line, my parents bought me one of the small, just digital cameras. And I used that. I took pictures of all my family, anything and everything, my dog, my cats, my cousins, you name it. I have pictures of everything. And then probably it was just when COVID hit is when I wanted to pick up a real camera and shoot live music. And all the local bands here in Toronto, they've given me so much opportunity to expose myself to the music world. Some of my best friends are in the music community. Most of my friends are in the music community, and I'm so grateful for that. And during COVID, I had no concerts to go to. So I learned how to take nature photos, sunsets, the moon, my dog, anything and everything but shows. And all I wanted to do was shows. But it gave me an appreciation to be a rounded photographer in that aspect. But once shows hit, I never looked back.
So in a sense, you were like a self-made music photographer.
I'm all self-taught. There is no schooling.
Right.
Nothing.
But they didn't come to you to take pictures. You went to them. And then
for the most part.
And then they recognized something in you. It's like something in that girl. Look at her go. Because again, I saw those pictures on Facebook, and you have these rock stars coming at you, putting their face into your lens and stuff. It's
the best feeling. And one of my favorite feelings is having an opportunity to jump on the same stage these artists are on to take those photos. It's a feeling I cannot describe. It's the best.
And what kind of feedback have you gotten from some of the bands that you shot?
Oh, I get a lot of great feedback from everyone. They love my work. And they're excited to work with me in the future when they come to town. And I'm excited to work with them. And, you know, Todd and Brent are two of the biggest supporters for me. And they've given me the biggest opportunities in my photography career. So thanks, Todd and Brent.
Yeah, two really cool guys, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now, if you can go back to your younger self, what advice would you give her?
I would probably give her the advice of ask more. You know, if you don't ask, you're not going to get an answer. And that's kind of one of my biggest things. I always have that hard time of asking. But at the end of the day, the answer may be yes, it may be no.
Right.
But most of the time, it will be yes.
But you know, it's interesting because it goes with your personality también. It's so if you are, I wouldn't say that you're shy, but you know, some people are more introverted than others. So you're not gonna be feeling so great if you go and ask all the time, right? So that there's something you can do there.
I grew up very shy. A lot of people don't know that. They know me from like 16 and up. I'm loud. I love going out having fun. I love talking to people. But if you met me when I was younger, I wouldn't talk to nobody. I was that introverted. But music has brought me to the point where I'm very free in that aspect. I'll talk to anybody about music. I've had people come up to me knowing who I am through Facebook, and I have no clue who they are, but they love my work. And
That's
that
awesome.
means so much to me.
So it's like too many doors are open now, right? So it's like
all
amazing.
the doors are opening, and that's what I love about this.
Amazing. So I'm gonna kind of rephrase what Paz was saying. So that your story from being a Kiss fan to a photographer is really, really interesting. So going to Kiss, when and how did you first discover the band?
I think I was probably 6 or 7. My dad introduced them to me. My parents are into the rock music. That's what they grew up on. My dad's seen Kiss a couple of times in the past, and then he had the opportunity to take me to see them. So it's definitely down to my dad. I remember hearing it. It wasn't until years later I understood like the image itself. So to me, it was more of the music than the imagery. Because I know a lot of people have said it's their look that kind of intrigued them to, listen to the band.
Yeah.
I'm the polar opposite. I listened to the music before I actually realized, the image of what all that means. And I think I was in grade 3. We did a spring concert, and I was in full-fledged Kiss makeup. I was the Catman. And I'm a drummer myself, but I haven't played in a good 2 years.
Okay.
But I love the drums, and that's what inspired me to play was Kiss as well.
I love it. And is your dad a musician too, or your mom?
No, none of my parents are. My dad took music in high school, but never, after the fact, just never did anything with it.
Okay. So what are your memories about that first time that you listened to Kiss? Do you remember which Kiss album was?
The first song I ever remember listening to was Detroit Rock City.
Oh wow.
The intro to that made me a fan.
That's it.
That was it. That was done. I was hooked. And then it evolves over the course. Once I probably hit about 16, when I started, my parents allowed me to have social media. I had my own cell phone. I started to do more research on them. So it kind of
Okay.
like I became a Kiss fan twice. You know,
How's that? Twice.
twice. So when I was younger, I would listen to the music, and that's
Okay.
all I would have done.
Mhm.
But as I grew up, I wanted to learn more about the band itself, the members of the band, the history of the band. You know, I delved into everything, and
Mhm.
I have a good memory of everything. I watched interviews, I watched live concerts, and it kind of made me appreciate the band even more at an older age.
Mhm.
And I'm still this big Kiss fan 24 years later.
There you go. Love it. This is a very beautiful story. And you know, with 50 years of history, um, you know, I'm kind of I just want to ask you more questions. I don't know how far I can go, but um, do you have a favorite era? Do you have a favorite lineup, or for you, you know, it's a one entity case. It doesn't matter who plays in there. It doesn't matter if it's with makeup, without the makeup.
With the makeup, it's iconic. To me, that's Kiss.
Okay.
But my favorite probably era is the Revenge, because Eric Singer is the guy that made me want to pick up the pair of drumsticks.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say Revenge and then on, but I love everything about Kiss. Like, who doesn't?
Of course, of course. Beautiful.
This is really cool, Cailin, because your passion for music, for Kiss, for photography is really coming through the screen here. Again, you know, watching that young girl on Facebook and now actually having the opportunity to talk to you and get to know you, I think this is fantastic. So once again, listen, I can't thank you for
Oh,
coming on the show. It's so much fun.
I haven't done a podcast in about 2 years, and especially a Kiss one. So it's bringing back a lot of memories. So thanks for
Nice.
inviting me on.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure. So I want to ask you now, beyond Kiss, speaking of music, how has your musical tastes evolved?
Well, I have grown to appreciate the Canadian music.
Nice.
I love my Canadian artists, and I can honestly push that back to Kiss again. Is when I saw Todd and Brent videos of them playing with Bruce Kulick on the Kiss cruise,
Mhm.
and I'm like, oh my God, who is this? Who is this singer? Like he belts this out. Like, who is he? Where does he come from? And then I started Googling it, and it's like, he's Canadian. That's interesting. And then I Googled Brent Fitz, same thing. They grew Prairie Boys. You know, that's all they want to do, either play music or play hockey.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I started researching who they were. And then I found Took. And that's where my music really appreciated. You know, they play all the Canadian classics. Like, I knew a lot of them from my parents, but I got more of an appreciation for them. I've met so many of these artists because of them. And if it wasn't because of them, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Okay. So I assume that you've seen a lot of like local shows, right?
I have a lot of friends in the local industry too, and I'm very grateful for them as well. They've given me the opportunities to come out, shoot their shows, you know, have fun with them. And but I appreciate them as much as I appreciate, you know, the bigger artists letting me have the opportunity to come in and capture a live show of theirs.
And have you seen like big bombastic shows like Kiss in concert?
I think the one I can probably say is like this kind of the same line as Kiss would have been Rush. That was
Right.
my second
Oh.
concert.
Oh wow.
So I went from, you know, one big iconic band to another big iconic band.
Okay.
So the appreciation there again comes from my dad. My dad's the biggest Rush fan I know.
Mhm.
So
And how would you compare a Kiss concert experience compared to other concert experiences that you've gone to?
there's nothing tops a Kiss concert experience
Mhm.
other than probably Alice Cooper.
Right.
is the only band I can say, like, he has that show. He has that image that everyone knows about. But you can't compete with Kiss. Their live shows are bar none the best.
Yeah.
You got the pyro, you got the fire. I haven't seen another band really come to that.
And those guys, they started off in the 70s, right? Can you imagine what must have been there to see those guys in the 70s?
As I've always said to my parents, I grew up in the wrong era. I wish I grew up in being born in the 60s to grow up as a teenager in the 70s and 80s.
Start going to the shows in the late 60s. Oh my goodness. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And speaking of Canadian music, I'm gonna go a little bit off script. So I guess you like the hip and the damn truth, and so I was wondering if you ever had the chance to shoot those guys. That could be full circle, right? Or did you already?
No, I haven't. I've heard of the damn truth. I've never seen the Tragically Hip.
Okay.
The Canadian bands, like I can name off the top of my head, I've done Kim Mitchell, Lee Aaron. I would consider Took as well. Streetheart and Prism were just the other week. And I know I'm forgetting a couple bigger name Canadian artists, and I can't think off the top of my head. But those are the ones that are the most memorable for me. And they're iconic. All of those,
they are.
All of those bands are iconic. Like I've seen the band Toronto. I've seen the Trues. I've seen Monster Truck. Monster Truck from my hometown. Like they're from the Hammer. So I love those guys. I've shot for the Trues a few times. Those guys are great. And Canada has some of the best music.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So going back to your passion on photography. So when did you said that you started off, when you were young at 6. That's when kind of the spark, got ignited there. So that's when you realized that photography was your passion?
I think so. I've always had a camera in my hand. If it's not a camera, it was a cell phone, taking pictures of everything. So it's ingrained in my DNA at this point.
And do you believe that there's a connection between Kiss and becoming a photographer because of the visuals, because of experiencing a show through your eyes? So do you think that there's a connection there?
Oh, absolutely. Like I would have loved to been in a stadium with Kiss and shot a show. Like there's nothing better than watching the fire, the pyro, everything just going off. Like that is like the dream. I won't have that, but I know there's other bands that, does the same thing. But not to that capacity.
So you mentioned that you basically shot everything when you first had a camera. You started working with nature shots and things like that. So tell us, what was it like shooting your first concert experience?
My first big concert experience would have been shooting for Took. Those guys ended up taking me on the road for 48 hours. I shot one of their music videos, Something for the Pain. I've never done a music video in my life, but they asked me when I walked into the casino, can you give us a hand with a music video? And I'm like, well, the answer will always be yes, anything for you guys. And, that one photo I have, a friend of mine took, and it was Todd leaning into me, and I took a photo. And I did not know if that photo was clear or not until the next day when Corey sent over the photos to me. And I'm like, God damn, I actually got that shot. And then my friend sent me the photo of me taking it. And like, that's such a prized possession of a photo because I adore Todd. Like, he's like my big brother. And I've known him and Brent for going on 7 years now, which is crazy to think.
So tell us more about that friendship you have with Brent and Todd.
I first met Todd when I was 18. His team of people gifted me his stage-played bass. And because I wasn't allowed into the venue where they were playing with Slash at Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators, we had to do it off the venue, outside of the venue. So he met up with us, and I got to spend about an hour with him, just chit-chatting about music. And I will say I was kind of like taken back. I didn't know what to say. But, once I got, comfortable, we were just talking like we have known each other forever. And I'm so grateful for that. Like, that was the first experience I had with Todd. And then I met Brent when I went out to see Took with Corey and Shane. And those guys treated me like gold. Those guys are gems of a human.
They truly are. Yeah, it's true. So we had the chance to meet them in the Kiss cruise, and I've never met people so humble, so cool. They're huge Kiss fans. It's
Oh,
they're
yeah.
they're one of us. So this is amazing. This is truly amazing. Did you have the chance through them to get to know Bruce Kulick?
Not yet. No, I'm planning on going down to Vegas in the next year or so for one of Todd's birthday bashes. So I know Bruce lives down there. Like, I would love to meet him. I'm a huge fan of his work as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I know Brent played with him during Union, and I'm a huge Union fan because of Brent, because of Kiss.
Yeah.
So, as I always say, there's a Kiss connection everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And when they all play together, with Todd on the cruise,
Yes.
that they do those amazing set lists,
It
that's
blew my mind.
Yeah, that's the moment, in the cruise. It's fantastic.
I had so many friends that went, and they're like Todd, like, can sing this, like where did he come from?
Yeah. So nice. So, Cailin, let me go back to some of your most memorable shows. Can you name a few? Something that comes on the top of your head? If I ask you 2 or 3 of your most awesome shows that you shot.
Oh, absolutely. Took's number one. That will always be my number one show. I shot for Alter Bridge and Wolf Mammoth in Toronto at the History. Right after the Took show, it was like I flew in the Friday night, Saturday, bam, I was out again. It's great. I love being on the road. You're tired, but it's absolutely worth every minute you get. Kim Mitchell's another one. Like, he's iconic.
Yeah,
I love
of
Kim
course.
Mitchell.
Yeah.
And then probably Lee Aaron, definitely. And then Street Heart and Prism. Those guys are great. I just saw Brent, honestly, a couple weeks ago. I was hanging out with him for the night. He was playing with Street Heart up in Aurelia. So I got to see him. So we hung out. It was great catching up, talking about music, talking about life. Like, you can talk to him like he's like just a regular human being.
That's lovely. You're living the rock and roll life. This is awesome. This is so cool.
Oh, I love it. I wouldn't change anything, that's for sure.
Of course not. And like in every kind of job, there's good things, bad things, challenges, obstacles. What would you say is the most challenging part of being a music photographer?
My biggest challenging part is the lighting. The red and blue light can kill a photo, and I've had many photos killed because of the lighting in a venue. So usually when you see probably a black and white photo of mine, because the lighting's red or blue.
Okay.
So I've upgraded my camera. When I was out with Took, actually, Corey Churko let me borrow his camera for the weekend because I didn't bring any of my gear with me. And he had a Sony. And the lighting in the casino was different, but the camera captured it so well. Like, the photos were so crisp. So like 4 or 5 months later, I went out and bought the camera myself, bought my own. And my photos have come such a long way because of just changing the gear I had. So it helps. That camera definitely helps with the lighting aspect, but it still kills a photo if the lighting's overkill, it overkills the person as well, of the photo you're taking. I think that is honestly just probably one of my only challenges when it comes to that.
Okay. And I guess you have a lot of equipment. So do you travel with a couple of cameras, depending on?
I only have the one, and then I have a couple of lenses I'll travel with.
Okay.
So I'll intertwine the lenses, but I try to just keep with one straight lens, so you're not popping the lenses on and off through a show. accidents happen. My biggest fear is dropping it or someone bumps into me.
Yeah.
So I usually just stick with one zoom lens and I can get a full band photo or a zoomed right in photo. So I kind of meet myself in the middle there.
Okay. Okay. And in these modern days, compared to when people were shooting with film, and developing and all of that. So now there's so much processing that comes after, the shoots. This, how important do you think it is post-production? So do you do a lot of post-production in your work?
Well, I'm the type of photographer that will take 2 to 3,000 photos in a night. So just going through the photos alone will take me a good day or so just to
Mhm.
go through them. And luckily with the camera I have, I can Bluetooth my camera to my phone on an app. So I can go through the photos while I'm still standing in the venue. It
Okay.
makes people laugh when I start posting photos and editing them, still, you know, being around everyone that I was just taking photos of.
Right.
But that is for me trying to build my social media presence. I like to be quick on that to at least get, a dozen photos out of each band that I shot that night.
Right.
And I do, depending on, again, it comes back to if the lighting's great, for me, there's minimal editing. I just might tweak a little bit here and there, but if the lighting is, shitty, then I will do a little more in-depth editing. But I try to just keep it as minimal as possible.
Okay. Okay. So I like your approach, because my next question was going to be, even in these days, where everything seems to be so crazy with AI and all the stuff, you seem to be more classic,
Yes.
sticking to the real, your eye, what you see. Do you think that AI could be for the good for photography, or do you think it's going to kill everything?
I think it will kill everything because
Yeah.
it's not realistic. I don't
Hmm.
like looking at a photo that looks fake.
Hmm.
So, you can doctor up a photo to a point where it looks like it's fake. And
Yeah.
I've seen many people just, doctor it up. And I don't
Yeah.
like that. I want to keep it classic. I want to keep it realistic. If there's a little flaws in between, I would rather see that than see an AI photo.
It's like when you listen to vinyl, right? So you even like that sound,
Yeah,
that body there. The same with photography. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you.
absolutely.
I agree with you. Yeah.
So, Kaylin, if you don't mind, I'm going to fanboy a little bit here. I'm a big, huge Lee Aaron fan, and you mentioned that you shot her at one of her shows. It's actually because of you that we got to interview Sean Kelly a while ago. So, did you meet Lee and Sean? What were they like?
Sean is a gem of a human. I love him to pieces. I've
Yeah.
seen him, I've got to chat with him a couple of times now over the last couple of years. And I've met Lee once. My friend who was running the show she was at asked me last minute to do all her VIP photos.
Hmm.
So again, that was a whole different
Wow.
territory for me. And I'm like, yep, absolutely. Just let me know when and where and we'll get it done. And then at the end of the night, when everything was said and done, it was just Lee's manager, myself, and a couple of our friends were just up hanging around. And I got a photo with her. She actually realized who I was when I was there. She says, "Oh, we're Instagram friends," and
Ah,
I'm like, okay, then someone's actually, taken the time to see what I've been up to. I don't take that for granted, not one bit. So her and I were chatting. She is super sweet, like such a nice lady. And Sean's just a gem of a human and a killer guitar player.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw Lee Aaron a few years ago in Ottawa for Canada Day, and it was a small club, about 200, 250 people, small stage. But man, watching her up on stage, it was like watching a Kiss concert. She had so much energy. She was like a presence to be reckoned with up on stage, and she was all over the place. What a bombastic show! Now, I took pictures of that show, and I look at them, I'm going, it doesn't even come close to capturing the essence of who she was up on that stage. How do you do it? How do you capture that artist's essence when you take that picture? What's your secret?
Oh, I think it's just I have an eye for it. I have an eye when I look at something. It's like that's a moment I want to capture. I always come back to they're moments. They're
Mhm.
just, to me, they're just not a photo. They're a moment captured in time that I can look back on and I can remember what I was feeling, what I was doing, how I took that photo. And, in that venue that I shot her in particular, it was sold out, jam packed. And the hardest part of that night, I couldn't move. I was in one spot. So that is probably one of my other tricky parts is when you're stuck in one spot, you really have to be creative of how you take these photos.
Right.
And that was one of them, like, leaning down and shooting up on the monitors, trying to get a different angle. It's hard to get angles when you're squished behind all these people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But she's great. I love her. And I can't wait to see her again, hopefully at some point this year.
Were you at the Ottawa show?
No.
You weren't. Damn it. Damn it. Okay, you weren't there either. Okay,
You
sorry.
keep thinking.
Oh my, I keep thinking I met her somewhere. I met her because I did see those pictures of you that you took of Aaron, and that got us to talk to Sean. And I think maybe I messaged you about that.
Yeah, because you used one of my photos of
Yes,
Sean that night
that's right.
that I took.
Yes, that's
And
right.
I
That's right.
appreciate that. That was a treat to have some of my photos on promo stuff.
Oh,
I
nice.
love that.
Nice.
Thank you.
And now we're having this awesome recording here. This is life is so good, man. Life is
Yeah.
beautiful. I love it. I love it. So, Cailin, what advice would you give to young photographers who would like to follow in your footsteps?
My biggest one I would say is never give up. Fight that fight, as my dad's always said to me since I was in kindergarten. Fight that fight, never grow up, and never let an opportunity slide. Just ask. Just ask the person, hey, I'm a photographer. I need some experience. Can I come out and shoot your show? I guarantee they will always say yes. That would be amazing. We would love to have the content. And that's what I did. I had all these local bands I became friends with. They reached out to me. Some I just, reached out to them. Hey, I'm going to be at a show. I'm going to have a camera. I can send you a file of photos after the fact. And, they'll share a bunch on their social media, tag me in it. And that's just how you grow followers. You grow your own fans. I have my own fans, and I never thought I would ever say that in my life. Like, I'm no musician. I love my music. And I love taking those photos of, some of the greatest rock acts out there.
But it's interesting because you are an artist, okay? So you work with art, and of course, it's impossible that you're not going to have fans. What you're doing, it makes people live through the show even if you're not there, right?
And I've had people say that. They said I can feel the show through your photos. And that means a lot. I take a lot of pride and joy into capturing those moments in time.
So before asking you the next question, you have to promise us that the next time you come to Montreal, we're gonna meet and we're gonna have fun, okay? Because this is so cool. This is lovely. I love what you do.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yes, I'd love to come meet you guys. I'll definitely make that a priority soon, I hope.
Yeah. And as I mentioned before, the damn truth. They are from Montreal, and if you can catch those guys, they're so cool. They're so nice. A bunch of beautiful people. So I'm sure that you might. Who knows? In the future, you might be working with them.
Never know. Never say never.
Yeah. That's it. So speaking of dream shows, so if you could, do your work on a dream show, what could it be and why? Who would you like to show? Who's your dream there?
That's a big question. The band I really want to go after next is Slash with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. That is the next show that I want to be able to have in my catalog. Even bigger than that, I want to go with Nickelback. I'm a huge fan of them. They put on such a great show.
Oh, yeah.
And my boyfriend and I might go down this year to go see them down in Halifax. So you never say never. Who knows?
So a couple of more questions before we close the curtain on this episode. Being a photographer, like you said, you have an eye for these pictures, right? You're able to capture the essence of the artist. So having that artistic eye, what would you say for you was that most iconic Kiss photo, and why?
I'm glad you sent me these questions because that took a minute to actually think about. And I went back and I scrolled through all these photos. And the one that I came up with was that Dress to Kill in New York. You know, because I see all my friends will post they're standing at that pole.
Yeah.
To me, that's iconic. You know, everyone wants to go back and replicate that photo.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't think of a better photo than that one.
Nice. Just curious, Claudia, what would you say was your most iconic photo? For me, it's when they're standing on the cubes with the Love Gun outfits.
Me too.
Love that shot.
That session where they are in the Love Gun, costumes on the cubes, or with the Mylar, that they have
Yes.
all those two to me are unbeatable. Yeah. But it's true. Thinking of what Cailin is saying, you got to be so creative, to capture those guys in the corner of 8th Avenue and 23rd Street. That's so cool. I love it.
Yeah.
It is true.
So, Cailin, what does the future hold for you? Any upcoming photo shoots coming up?
Not many, not as of yet. I'm kind of keeping it slow this year, but my boyfriend's in a bunch of bands, so I go out and shoot a lot of his shows. So that keeps me busy, but I'm really hoping I'll have a point of this year to go back out with Toque, hopefully. And I don't know. Never say never.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Cailin, I can't thank you enough, for being part of this awesome episode. It's been a true pleasure to get to meet you. And as I said before, we can't wait. If you're ever, close,
yes,
let's meet up and have fun and talk music and photography and Kiss and everything else.
Oh, I'm down. I'll definitely let you guys know when I'm in town.
Super nice. Thank you so much.
Cailin, I'm a high school teacher and I work with students 16, 17 years old. And it is so nice to see someone so young, so driven, so passionate, that has a love for life, a love for what she does. And I tell my students, it's not about making money. It's about doing what you love.
Absolutely.
And if you have the job or you're doing that thing that you love, you're never going to work a day in your life. And it doesn't matter how much money you make. If you're happy doing what you like, you've made it.
Absolutely.
So at 24 years old, I can honestly say, my friend, you have made it, man. And you just keep going and do not stop.
Thank you so much. That means a lot coming from you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, this was so much fun. Such a pleasure to finally get to talk to you and get to know you, not just through Facebook pictures. This has been a fantastic evening. Thank you again.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It brings back a lot of good memories for me doing these podcasts, talking about Kiss. I've talked to a lot of the guys in the States. That's kind of how I got my podcast start. So,
Right.
Shout out to those guys. They know who they are, and then, kind of go full circle all these years later. And I can kind of talk about, how far I've come in such, a short period of time.
Yeah.
But it's
lovely.
it's fun.
It's well deserved, and it's a good sign when we finish, recording, and we always end up with a smile, a big smile in the face. That's we did good, man. So that was fantastic, and thanks to you. That was it.
Oh, thanks so much, guys.
Thank you. To the Kiss Army, we hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please send them to talktome@kissarmynationpodcast.com. Till the next time, remember, never stop rocking. Take care, everyone.